Buenos dias and welcome to Mexico City. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I love street art, and every time I travel to a new place, I love exploring the streets, specifically looking for the local street art. And I must say that after 1 month in Mexico, Mexico City is by far the best place I have ever been for street art. Now, I haven't been everywhere, but there's so many murals in this city, and this trend goes back 100 years. At one time, Mexico was known for having a muralist movement, and there were many famous artists. Usually when I'm looking around at street art in cities, there are some not so good murals, some that are probably better off not being there. But here, I feel like it's rare that I see ugly art or art that is made without style. It's usually very colorful, unique pieces. There were many famous artists here back 100 years ago who completely dedicated themselves to making murals in Mexico City. The famous ones that I'm most familiar with are Diego Rivera, David Siqueiros, and Jose Orozco. They basically created this huge movement in Mexico City, mostly dedicated to revolutionary style art, so a lot of political subjects, but also, of course, cultural, specific to Mexico subject matter, which is absolutely amazing to see. You can still see it today. Over the decades, that has been a trend that has continued with the Mexican people. So there are murals all over the city, and I've been very impressed with the quality of them. I like this artwork with the outlines in white. That is rare. Usually you see outlines in black. It's beautiful. It looks like this mural almost has been blasted off, but I can't tell if it's actually just maybe what was used for the paint in that section didn't weather so well. I don't know. Oh, the whole thing is a Mexico flag. Aha. Goes from the green to white to red. Yeah, that's us. I wonder what they're throwing the money at. This is an interesting looking building. headed for something a little bit different, off the beaten track maybe. We're going to the Mexico City Cablebus. This is a cable car that goes throughout the city as if it were like a public transit. It's really inexpensive to get on. It also holds the Guinness World Record for being the longest urban cable car line in the world at 10.6 kilometers. But that's not why we're going to do it. People have painted the roofs of their houses with murals. So once you're on the cable car, you can see all of these murals on top of people's houses. amazing. I want to go again. I think we might be going the opposite direction back because that was so cool. So many murals to see. I definitely did not get to check out all of them. Not enough time. Nothing whizzed by so quickly I could barely even like look at one of them before we had passed straight by it. Look at this pretty pink church. I think a pink church is quite rare. This is not a painting, it's a mosaic. Little tiny squares. Geez, it doesn't take much creativity to interpret this one. We're at the National University of Mexico. It is actually a World Heritage Site, and apparently it is the oldest university in the Americas. But, of course, the reason I wanted to come here is because of the art. This building is apparently the most photographed building in all of Mexico City. We cannot talk about street art in Mexico City or Mexico in general without mentioning the historic murals. Mexico had a really exciting muralist movement about 100 years ago now. I think it was from like the 1920s to the 1950s. There were a handful of really prominent Mexican muralists who are painting revolutionary frescoes all over the city and all over the country. Over the past month here, I have seen quite a few of them, and I've highlighted many of those murals in my previous Mexico City videos if you want to check those out. And I said previously at the beginning of this video that I think Mexico City is the best city I've ever been to for street art. And if you had seen any of my videos from about a month ago, I was in Oaxaca, and they had some amazing street art too. But I think what sets Mexico City apart is these historical murals. This is a mosaic sculptural mural by Diego Rivera, and it is on the Olympic Stadium, as you can see. It was apparently his last ever mural. Most of the historic murals are frescoes and are now mostly held inside museums and stuff like that, but they were once publicly viewable buildings, which is why I'm including it in the street art video. It was once public art, and some of them still are, like this one, of course. What I love about these historic murals and what makes them so famous and why they've survived 100 years is how expressive they are. Quite uncensored, raw, sensitive topics. Like a lot of the times they are addressing social issues, problems, world issues, as well as Mexican history, war, and they don't shy away from the nitty-gritty details, which is not super easy to come across these days in art, and certainly not in such a blatant form. Like, you can look at some of these murals and tell exactly what the narrative is and what they're referencing, but at the same time they're full of symbolism as well. So the history of murals and street art in Mexico City dates back actually thousands of years, back to even the Mexica people, the Aztec people, as well as the muralist movement that was huge 100 years ago. So to this day, street art is a big part of the culture. I'm finding the murals here exceptionally well done as well. So after 1 month of exploring Mexico City, documenting all of the street art that I have seen, I am very impressed, and I think I maintain that Mexico City is the best city I've ever been for street art.